We all know that prisons aren't exactly the most pleasant places on earth, but have you ever stopped to think about the conditions in African prisons? Overcrowding, inadequate facilities, and poor conditions have long plagued African prisons. These issues are exacerbated by the fact that many African countries have high rates of poverty and limited resources, making it difficult to allocate funding for prison improvement. As a result, African prisoners frequently lack basic necessities such as clean water, proper sanitation, and adequate medical care. Overcrowding is one of the most pressing issues confronting African prisons. Many facilities are designed to house only a fraction of the number of inmates currently housed, resulting in cramped and unsanitary conditions. This can result in the spread of diseases like tuberculosis and HIV, as well as violence and conflict within the prison. But which African prisons are the worst of the worst? From overcrowded cells to inhumane conditions, we'll explore the dark side of African incarceration. But before we begin, please take a moment to hit the like button on this video to help more people view our content. Thanks. Drakenstein Prison, South Africa. Drakenstein Prison, also known as Pollsmoor Maximum Security Prison, is a South African correctional facility located in Cape Town. It was built in the early 1980s to replace the overcrowded and dilapidated Robben Island prison, which had housed political prisoners during the country's apartheid era. Nelson Mandela spent the final months of his imprisonment here, campaigning against apartheid. The facility is well known for housing imprisoned gang members and encouraging gang violence. It is one of South Africa's most dangerous prisons. The facility has recurring malnutrition issues, a lack of adequate health care, and poor sanitation. 9. Nairobi Prison, Kenya. Nairobi Prison, also known as Kamiti Maximum Security Prison, is a Kenyan correctional facility. It was founded in 1910 and is one of the country's oldest prisons. The prison is notorious for its overcrowding, deplorable conditions, and violations of human rights. The prison was designed to house a maximum of 1,000 inmates, but it now houses more than 4,000. Overcrowding has resulted in deplorable living conditions, including insufficient health care, sanitation, and nutrition. Inmates are frequently forced to sleep on the floor or in overcrowded cells, with little access to clean water, hygiene facilities, or medical care. In addition to these poor living conditions, Nairobi Prison has a history of human rights abuses. There have been numerous reports of physical abuse, torture, and extrajudicial killings by prison staff. There have also been allegations of corruption, including the selling of food, drugs, and other necessities to inmates. 8. The Mukobeko Maximum Prison, Zambia. The Mukobeko Maximum Prison in Kabwe, Zambia, is home to some of the country's most dangerous and prominent inmates. In the 1960s, the prison began as a rehabilitation facility for young offenders, but it has since evolved into a maximum security facility housing convicted murderers, armed robbers, and other violent criminals. One of Mukobeko Maximum Prison's most notable features is its strict regime. Inmates are required to follow a strict schedule that includes waking up at 6:00 a.m., participating in morning roll call, and participating in various activities throughout the day. 7. Kirikiri Maximum Prison, Nigeria. Kirikiri Maximum Prison, also known as Kirikiri Medium Security Prison, is a maximum security prison in Lagos, Nigeria. It is one of the country's largest and most overcrowded prisons, with a capacity of about 1,500 inmates, but currently housing over 5,000. The prison was built in the 1970s to house convicted criminals serving long sentences, but it has since expanded to house pretrial detainees and those awaiting trial. Many of these detainees have been held for years without being charged or brought to trial, raising widespread concerns about access to justice and prison conditions. Kirikiri Maximum Prison is notorious for its harsh and overcrowded conditions, with inmates frequently sleeping on the floor or sharing small cells with dozens of other people. Because the prison lacks basic amenities such as clean drinking water, adequate sanitation, and medical care, the inmate population suffers from high rates of disease and illness. 6. Kinshasa Penitentiary Rehabilitation Center, Congo. The Kinshasa Penitentiary Rehabilitation Center, located in the Democratic Republic of the Congo's capital city, is a prison that aims to rehabilitate offenders and reduce recidivism rates. The Congolese Ministry of Justice and Human Rights runs the center, which was founded in the 1980s and is funded by the government and international organizations. The United Nations Human Rights Office has ranked this prison as one of the worst. It was designed to house only 150 inmates, but it now houses over 850. Due to a lack of space, inmates are forced to sleep in the hallways and near septic tanks. Disease outbreaks are a daily occurrence as a result of the poor health system. 5. Chikurubi Maximum Prison, Zimbabwe. Chikurubi Maximum Prison is a maximum security prison in the Harare suburb of Chikurubi, Zimbabwe. With a capacity of over 4,000 inmates, it is the country's largest prison. During the colonial era, the prison was built in the 1960s to house political prisoners. It has since been converted into a general detention facility, housing both male and female inmates serving time for a variety of offenses. Chikurubi Maximum Prison's conditions have been heavily criticized over the years. The prison is overcrowded, with some cells accommodating up to 3 times the number of inmates intended. This has resulted in serious sanitation issues, with many prisoners lacking access to proper toilet facilities. Furthermore, the prison lacks adequate health care, and there have been reports of prisoners dying as a result of insufficient medical treatment. Human rights organizations have also expressed concern about the use of torture and other forms of ill treatment at Chikurubi Maximum Prison. In 2015, a group of prisoners went on hunger strike to protest the prison's conditions, resulting in clashes with guards and several deaths. 4. Committee Maximum Prison, Kenya. Committee Maximum Prison, located in the outskirts of Nairobi, is the largest prison facility in Kenya. It was built in the 1950s to house the most dangerous and high-profile inmates in the country. The prison is known for its overcrowding, with a capacity of 1,500 inmates, but often housing over 4,000. This has led to poor living conditions, with inmates often sleeping on the floor or sharing small cells. In addition, the prison has a reputation for inadequate health care and sanitation, with outbreaks of diseases such as tuberculosis and HIV being common. 3. Gitarama Prison, Rwanda. Gitarama Prison, located in the central Rwandan town of Gitarama, was once one of the country's most notorious detention facilities. The prison was built in the 1950s with the intention of holding only a few hundred inmates, but during the Rwandan genocide of 1994, it became overcrowded with thousands of people accused of participating in the violence. Gitarama Prison became a symbol of the country's efforts to bring those responsible for the genocide to justice in the aftermath of the genocide. Many of those imprisoned at Gitarama were accused of genocide participation, and the prison became the site of numerous trials and hearings as the Rwandan government sought to hold those responsible accountable. The conditions at Gitarama Prison, on the other hand, were notoriously bad, with overcrowding, inadequate facilities, and limited access to medical care leading to numerous deaths among the inmates. The prison was also the site of numerous human rights violations, with guards and other officials torturing and mistreating prisoners. 2. Black Beach Prison, Equatorial Guinea. The notorious Black Beach Prison, also known as La Manga, is located in Equatorial Guinea, a small country on Africa's west coast. Torture, forced labor, and inhumane conditions are among the many human rights violations committed at the prison. The Spanish colonial government constructed Black Beach Prison in the 1940s. Following independence, the government of Equatorial Guinea used it as a detention center for political prisoners and other perceived enemies of the state. Former inmates have described the prison as a place of horror, with torture, beatings, and other forms of abuse reported. In the 1980s and 1990s, Black Beach Prison gained international notoriety for its brutal treatment of prisoners. 1. Pollsmoor Maximum Security Prison, South Africa. Pollsmoor Maximum Security Prison is a maximum security prison in Cape Town, South Africa. It was originally designed to house only male inmates, but it has since been modified to house female inmates as well. Overcrowding and poor living conditions at the prison have been the subject of much criticism and controversy over the years. Pollsmoor was founded in the 1980s and has a capacity of approximately 4,000 inmates. It has, however, consistently housed more prisoners than its designed capacity, with some reports estimating that the actual number of inmates exceeds 6,000. Overcrowding has resulted in poor living conditions, such as insufficient access to healthcare, sanitation, and other basic necessities. Pollsmoor has made headlines in recent years for a number of incidents, including violent clashes between inmates and staff, as well as prisoner protests over the facility's conditions. Improving prison conditions in Africa will require a combination of investments in infrastructure and services, as well as a commitment to upholding the rights and dignity of prisoners. By addressing these issues, it is possible to create a more humane and effective system of incarceration, which can ultimately benefit both prisoners and society as a whole. Thanks for watching till the end, and if you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss any update from our channel. See you in another video.